My last video concerned a clumsy attempt to get all my rounds downrange during a sitting rapid-fire string. As a way to illustrate what I was seeing during this attempt, I used a scope-mounted camera to show my sight picture as I was shooting. This view is very popular with comments asking for more details about the camera and if I could do more videos showing what I was seeing. Let me first explain about the camera and how it works for high-power shooting. The camera is a Triggercam 2.1. Physically, it is about the size of my hand. I purchased the Triggercam myself and have no affiliation with the manufacturer. The tubular part of the Triggercam is meant to slide over a rifle scope with the electronics mounted in this section up here. At the back of the camera is this piece of glass. I assume this is some sort of prism that allows light from the scope to be split between the camera and the shooter. As you can see, the image seen through the camera isn't much different than the image without it. Because the tube size of scopes vary, the Triggercam comes with these bushings. The intent is that you find the bushing interior size that matches the exterior diameter of your scope so you can have a good fit between the two. Unfortunately, none of the included bushings were the correct size for my wood oak scope. My solution was to take some measurements, create a model, and 3D print my own. Once you mount the Triggercam and tighten it down, you're ready to go. I won't bore you with more details on the camera since this isn't a product review video. So let's get into how the camera is used. The first thing I noticed when getting in position with the Triggercam mounted is potential interference with my hat. I have to raise the brim so it doesn't hit this part of the camera. The other problem is the proximity to my face and glasses. The Triggercam adds about 1.5 inches to the back of the scope, so I mounted my scope far forward on the receiver in the hope that I have enough clearance. At the same time, I also have to be able to see the scope properly for the matches where the Triggercam is not mounted on the rifle. This attempt to keep the Triggercam from hitting my glasses during recoil means I have to put some effort into keeping my head just slightly further back on the stock than I normally would. One way I gained a little extra room is by removing the lens reducer from my scope. The consequence of this is that I had a brighter image when looking through the scope. Another impact in having the Triggercam in position is the difficulty seeing the elevation knob setting. I have to look over the camera to ensure that I have the correct elevation on the scope. This is a little problematic when I'm laying down and prone. In general, having the Triggercam on my scope during a match is a distraction. Not an impossible one, but the physical bulk of the camera on the scope and remembering to turn it on and off are just more things that take my focus away from marksmanship. Don't get me wrong, I'll still use the Triggercam in matches as I have future videos planned using its output. But I have to be selective in choosing those matches. It has to be balanced with the knowledge that those days will have something else I have to pay attention to.